This was a fun one. I think you guys are going to like this. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Turnout. I am your host, Eloy. Don't forget to check out usaaudiences.com for special event movie screening invites. And just recently, Netflix released an awesome interactive experience with Kimmy Schmidt, the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Now, if you have not seen the original series, a lot of what's happening in this interactive experience will not make any sense. So I would definitely suggest you go back and watch that so that you can meet all of these amazing characters like Kimmy and Titus, and just there's so much. But in an effort to kind of use their interactive options a little bit more, kind of like Bandersnatch and Black Mirror, that was excellent. They decided to go ahead and create a comedy version of that, where this is basically one long episode of the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, but you get to dictate how the episode goes. And what this entails, obviously, is, oh, do you go down this path or do you go down that path? But of course, being a comedy, they make it funny, so it's great. The general plot of this episode of Kimmy versus the Reverend is Kimmy finds a book that she thinks might belong to a different girl that might have been kept in a different bunker. And for those people who might be watching this review but haven't watched the original series is that Kimmy Schmidt is one of 4 mole women who were thrown down into a bunker and told that the world ended. And she stayed there for several years before being let out, and that's the comedy of the show. Kimmy is so sheltered and doesn't know a whole lot about the world, so everything is brand new to her, and she's exasperatingly quirky and happy all of the time. So that's basically the gist of the show. But in this episode, she discovers something that makes her think that there might be another bunker. So she goes and she visits the Reverend and gets him to kind of give her a clue, and she decides that she has to fly to another state, and all of this is happening while Titus, who is her roommate and actor friend, is supposed to be on set for a movie, but he wants to go with her on the adventure. And honestly, I feel like I've already given away too much already. I'm not going to give away any more, but what I will say is that this is expertly constructed in terms of the approach to it. And what I do like about it is that it doesn't make you relive a whole lot of the scenes that you possibly have already done. If you make a mistake and end up with one of the characters dead, you can do that. They will kind of rewind it and they'll kind of synopsize it. But one cool thing that I liked was that they took different takes of the same scenes. So there will be jokes that you'll laugh at, and if you make a mistake and you have to go back, you'll hear a different joke in its place. So they took several takes of the same scenes so that it would be hilarious every time you watched it and not just the first time. You don't want predictability, obviously. They also created so many different scenarios for you to choose that they weren't pass-fail. It wasn't this one's correct and that one's wrong. It was like, which path do you want to go on? So that the next time that you play it, and I did end up playing it twice, you can just choose the other one. And one thing that I did, honestly, is I played it through once and I basically chose to pick all of the worst options because I am that way. And at the end of that, it said, hey, this is a terrible ending. You might want to play this again. So I played it again and made all of the right decisions. And then the movie/game, rewarded me with a really good ending that I dug a lot. Like most things with Kimmy Schmidt, the humor is rapid fire. And I've had moments where I'd be watching the show and I was still laughing from 3 jokes ago, but they've already hit me with so many others. I had to pause it because I had to recover from how funny they were. And that's the kind of show you want to watch. I love the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, and this interactive thing was really cool. One thing that I liked about it too is that it did respond to your options a whole lot. And if you made a wrong choice, you would have one of the actors kind of pop up and be like, hey, why the hell are you doing that? Come on. One of my favorites was where I had already played through it once and had all the worst things happen. So the second time playing through, I was like, I wonder what happens if I select that bad choice again. And one of the actors, the actor who played Titus, actually popped up and said, you already played it through and you know that that was the bad thing. Why are you making this harder than it needs to be? I think that they did a great job with it. I've always enjoyed the show, and this kind of new take on the interactiveness of it. I really hope that more creators kind of take advantage of the choose your own adventure kind of way of telling these stories. Again, Bandersnatch was great, but then I tried out like some weird survival show that Netflix put out that you could choose where the guy went. Do you go the alligator path or do you climb the mountain where you might fall? And honestly, it was less engaging, but it was because there was no investment. It was just some dude and you were telling him where to go in a jungle. You know, with Kimmy Schmidt, there was investment. With Black Mirror, there's investment. So really what it's going to take for this sort of genre, this choose your own adventure genre, to really take hold is for more bigger shows or movie franchises to take advantage of it. I'm an Xbox One dude, and in the Xbox One store, there actually are games that are choose your own adventure movies. Like that's all they are. Some person decided to shoot a choose your own adventure movie and gamify it and then sell it on Xbox. So you're just watching a movie, but you get to choose the order and you get to choose like what the next scene's going to be, what choices get made, and you get to dictate the story. And I love that sort of thing. As a gamer, as a role player, as a storyteller, this is just such an amazing way to tell a story and have multiple different types of endings come out of it. So if you haven't checked out the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Kimmy versus the Reverend interactive episode experience, definitely go check that out. I think that you will enjoy it. Again, I definitely think that it is more enjoyable if you have seen the show. But even if you haven't seen the show, the characters are so lovable and they're going to make you want to go back and watch the show now that you've checked out this interactive experience. So if you have checked it out though, let me know about what you think down in the comments. Otherwise, don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification so you always know when the Turnout puts out a new video. In the meanwhile, I have been your host, Aloy. This has been the Turnout. Thanks for showing up.